Hello, today I'm going to go through this greatest common divisor problem. So the problem is saying that given a two non-negative integer a and b and find the GCD of it. And non-negative integer means a and b are both greater or equal than 0. So the input is a and b, which is greater or equals than 0, and also integers. The output is also an integer because it is the GCD of a and b. So for example, GCD 3 and 9 would be 3 because 3 is the greatest common divisor, and GCD 15 and 20 is 5, and GCD 5, 0 is 5, which is kind of tricky because 0 can be divided by anything, and also 0 mod anything is 0. So I think I understand the problem. So let's go to the match stage. So this one is it's pretty similar or exactly the same with the discrete math class, talks about GCD. And from another perspective, we can use the backward for loop to find it. And let's go to the plan stage. So let me try this first, try this method first. So I'm going to find the smallest, smaller number between a and b, because we are finding the greatest common divisor. So after that, I'm going to start the backward for loop from the smaller number that let's say n, from n to 2, and if so backward for loop, so I from n to n, so if a mod I equals to 0 and b mod I is also 0, which means is the greatest common divisor, I'm going to return I. If not, I'm going to keep going to the for loop until it goes over it, and I'm going to return 1. And so let's go through the case. So let's look at this plan. If, for example, b is 0, so the smaller number would be 0. And the backward for loop from 0 to 2, that's not good. So it seems like we need to change it a little bit. So some edge cases. A or B is 0. So if A or B is 0, we are going to return the max value of A and B, like this one. So before that, I'm going to check if if A or B is 0, return the max of A and B. So let's go to the plan's implement stage. So I'm going to define a function like GCD and if M A B, if A equal to 0 or B equal to 0, I'm going to return max of A and B. So I'm going to find the smallest. So smallest equals to mean A and B. And I start a backward for loop. So for I in range n, which is the smallest, to 2, -1. No, start to 1 because it's not touching 1. So if A mod I equals to 0 and B mod I equals to 0, we will return I, return 1. So I'm going to put this in the Python tutor to see what happens. So for example, GCD A equals to input, A equals input, frame GCD A, B. So if it's A is 3 and B is 6, it should print out 3. So it prints out 3, which is good. Let me go through some steps. So the smallest is 3, so it starts from 3. And if 3 mod 3 is 0 and 6 mod 3 is also 0, it returns 3. So it is good. So let's try it. So if A is 5, B is 0, so it should go through this one and return the max, so return 5. So that looks good. And then I'm going to copy this into here. and then try to submit it. Oh, it's good. It's correct. So in this method, the time complexity is O of n because it started from started a for loop, backward for loop. And the space complexity is all of 1 because we only store A and B. Yeah. And that's it for this question.
All right, everybody, we are officially done.